slowly Shyam and Team 10 talked about the housing market. Well, we talked in a different way. So then they came to talking about housing, but housing still was never considered as architecture, because it never had that scale, neither it had the prominence, and of course not the style. Because technology, the kind of articulation, the use of space in the public realm is very different from a private realm. Some are ritualistic, some are non-ritualistic, but private realm has no ritual.
Yeah.
Then comes architecture, and then we teach in architecture. So 62 we started talking about architecture. And when we went to the village, the house was not even there. The Krishna Shastri was one of my first students who did the slum. So we were talking about now housing, and here she is talking about the poor people, and the house is not there. How do you define architecture? Okay, now we talk about the building typology and no more life.
Yeah.
Okay, then you are still drawing with your hands.
Yeah.
Now, they were measuring, they were looking, they were calculating. Hands, eyes, body, sense, everything was working. Because you sketch, you are talking with your breath, stop there, you feel. Then, now, there's the machine. In that machine, they don't have to do anything. Focus. First of all, your focus has changed. All your organs were now not numbed down, and now your only brain is working.
And you're in white space.
And yes, sir, you are only writing number, and the line will only stop when you have written that number, and it has no scale and no relation.
And you can go boom,
and
boom,
then
boom,
when
boom.
you go to details, you focus only a part, and the total disappears. So today they have almost become not. Robots are still better. They have become like that, where they are hardly sensitive about anything. So what has happened? Their span of understanding, the span of looking at distance, slowly, blurred. And so when you talk of architecture now, in that kind of a sense, the only thing left is what somebody says architecture is architecture for you. And the life is not there at all. And life is not there, so there is no story. And if there is no story, there is no memory, there is no association.
This time last year, I was in Italy and I spent a day with Palladio. And I had a doctoral student who really had interrogated me. He took me around and she showed me, he said, the Quattro Libri of Palladio was done late in his life in a perfect way.
Yes.
But I'm going to take you to buildings where, as an architect, he had to deal with imperfections, and he had no money, so he had to use theatre, and he had to improvise. And it's much more interesting than the Quattro Libri, because it deals with life.
You see, Corbusier taught me because I did not know French.
Yes.
And I had no background of architecture, like a child. He would sit here, he would come on my table, I would sit, I would get up, stand here. He would sit on my stool, on the table, and then he would have his colored pencils and others, yellow tracing paper, and he would say, now, let's see. He would draw the line, here, 9, so, and now we go here, and now here is the place, and now here we will move. Where do you move? Here. And then when he will draw something, and he will say, now in the section, here is the man and the building. Oh, you have birds in the city. No, Ahmedabad also birds. You draw bird there. But the birds fly in the house. So you will draw one in the house and outside.
And monkeys.
I learned architecture like that.
Fantastic.
So my architecture learning is very different.
Yeah.
So I am not knowledgeable.
That's what I said to the Nepalese man this morning. You've done the typologies, you need to do the life of the village. You need to show the furniture of how they've occupied space. It needs to start living. Yeah.
Old civilization is eco-friendly and technologically sound within itself.
Yes.
Recent civilization is developed in Europe, well settled, but it is a European thing.
Yes.
The USA is a new society, scattered, and only priority is economy. Time is money.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Now, when the new one is imitated, like Singapore, Malaysia,
Yes.
and what is happening in India is similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then, if you look at it, the tools which are used today, the computer connects individually, but in silence.
It's geometry.
No, globally and silent. Because you are working, with a self-occupied home office. You are alone.
Yeah.
Environmentally it is static. And we are not concerned about its consequence.
Yeah.
Because there is no physical and public contact.
Yeah.
There is no movement, no physical contact, and no variation in your lifestyle. It's a static thing. Machine. So what it does, it eliminates society. Which is very different from the old city square.
Yeah.
Where you bargain, you sense of time, you lose sense of time or any measure of place.
Yeah.
And in this society, which is individual, tools have become very important. Not the idea. Okay, then you come to this. In reality, actually what it is, one should be is wellness society.
Yeah.
You must be yourself with body, mind and spirit. And activities must lead to celebrations.
Yeah.
So ancient culture was like that, which was holistic. Deep-rooted, it was psychosomatic sensibilities in our behavioral pattern.
Yeah.
And then what it meant was education, culture, technology and resources were all part of the habitat.
Yeah.
In which energy, time were part and parcel of that society.
When we're doing those 3,000 houses in East Africa, Africans have always lived with a house and a piece of land. They had space. And we've got banks and developers who've come on board from South Africa, and they do just this. It's driven economically. They don't understand the market. They want to do only what they know, which is just single houses. But the density is 100, has to be over 100 per, which means you've got to go to shared walls.
Yes.
But they're scared to go there. What they don't do is they don't interrogate what the people need. They distance themselves from what the people need, because it's driven entirely by economic return.
That's right.
In fact, it has no business serving the needs of the people.
So
And we have a city that's saying we don't want gated suburbs. We want an economic mix because it's what we used to, and this is first generation urban people. So what you're saying is absolutely correct.
no, but this is what one has to talk about,
Yes, you've got to talk about it, and you've got to talk about it to your developer.
That's right.
Yeah.
Also to your students and
Also
professionals.
to your students and professionals.
Because they are really not following this.
No, and they're falling into a trap. They get trapped.
Nobody is interested in the other half.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Nobody.
You tell me in this conference how many people talked about the other half?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Hardly any topic.
Yeah.
I mean, Bombay has 60% slum.
Yes. Yes.
Biggest slums, there people are living in nothing, there you can't find a house for anybody like you. If you want to stay into a flat, you can't. Where will you find the money? So you only go to this poor paying guest.
Well, you got the city of Kigali want to provide housing for down the pyramid, not at the bottom, but just halfway.
Yeah.
And the developer says, I only know how to do this. You have to take the lead, because what's happening in Africa at the moment, the developed world don't have work, so they sit and earn their money where they are, and then they come and do these little jewels, and then they get patted on the back for being socially aware. And they're not socially
no
aware.
magazine publishes anything to do with the common man.
No, they don't.
No, it is because architecture, no capital A.
Yes.